Imagine descending below the surface of the ocean. Sunlight disappears. Everything becomes dark, silent, and terrifying. Then suddenly, a glowing lake appears. Dead fish and crabs cover its shoreline while waves move across its surface. Scientists discovered that this underwater lake is so poisonous that creatures die instantly after touching it. The water contains chemicals so corrosive that even metal begins to decay rapidly. Yet the most disturbing part is that dead bodies inside the lake remain preserved for years without decomposing. It looks less like Earth and more like an alien planet hidden beneath the ocean floor. But how can a lake exist inside another body of water? And why does this deadly place seem separated from the surrounding ocean? The answer becomes more shocking from here. Scientists soon realized that these underwater lakes were connected to a bigger mystery. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, researchers discovered oxygen being produced in complete darkness. No sunlight reaches those depths. No plants survive there. No photosynthesis should be possible. Yet oxygen still exists. Researchers named this phenomenon dark oxygen. Suddenly, everything humanity believed about the origins of life started to feel uncertain. Could ancient oceans have produced oxygen long before plants evolved? Could these deadly lakes actually be windows into Earth's earliest history? And if oxygen can form without sunlight on Earth, then could alien worlds hidden beneath frozen oceans also support life? These questions transformed a terrifying underwater lake into one of the greatest scientific mysteries of modern times. These underwater lakes are called brine pools. They exist deep inside places like the Red Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. Their salt concentration can become 10 times higher than normal seawater, while some extreme pools are almost 200 times saltier. Millions of years ago, ancient oceans evaporated and left enormous salt deposits underground. Later, tectonic activity cracked the seabed, allowing toxic salty fluids to rise upward and collect in deep depressions. Thick fog-like layers separate the deadly brine from normal seawater, creating underwater shorelines and waves. The water contains methane, hydrogen sulfide, toxic metals, and almost no oxygen. When creatures enter these pools, osmosis rapidly removes water from their cells, causing dehydration, organ failure, and instant death. Yet somehow, some creatures still survive near the edge of death itself. Near the borders of deadly brine pools, strange predators wait patiently. Small shrimp gather where normal seawater meets the poisonous brine. They remain perfectly still, waiting for unlucky fish or crabs to drift too close. The moment an animal touches the toxic water, its body goes into shock instantly. Weak creatures float back, where the shrimp quickly attack them. Even in one of the most hostile places on Earth, life survives by feeding on death itself. Deep-sea mussels survive through an extraordinary partnership with bacteria living on their bodies. These bacteria consume methane and hydrogen sulfide from the toxic water and convert those chemicals into nutrients. Scientists also discovered that when a whale dies and sinks into the deep ocean, its body can feed creatures for decades. Later, worms and smaller organisms consume whatever remains. Finally, bacteria break down the bones and release chemicals that support new life. Nature constantly transforms death into survival. Billions of years ago, Earth looked completely different from today. The atmosphere contained almost no oxygen. Thick methane clouds covered the sky, while toxic oceans dominated the planet. Only microscopic organisms existed in those ancient waters. Scientists believe modern brine pools closely resemble those early conditions, making them natural laboratories for studying primitive Earth. Then everything changed when cyanobacteria evolved the ability to perform photosynthesis. These tiny organisms released oxygen as waste, slowly transforming the atmosphere and oceans. This great oxidation event killed many older anaerobic organisms, but it also allowed oxygen-dependent life to evolve. Eventually, the ozone layer formed, and Earth became habitable. In 2013, deep-sea scientist Andrew Sweetman traveled to the Clarion-Clipperton Zone between Hawaii and Mexico to study oxygen levels below the Pacific Ocean. His team lowered a special machine nearly 5,000 meters deep, expecting oxygen levels to decrease with depth. Instead, they discovered something impossible. Oxygen levels were actually increasing in complete darkness, and some regions contained more oxygen than surface waters. The team repeated the experiment several times using different instruments, but the results never changed. Scientists named this mysterious phenomenon dark oxygen. If oxygen can exist without sunlight or photosynthesis, then how did life truly begin? The answer may have been hiding inside strange potato-shaped rocks scattered across the ocean floor. As scientists explored the deep Pacific Ocean, they discovered something that triggered a global race for wealth. Scattered across the seafloor were billions of strange rocks called polymetallic nodules. These dark potato-shaped stones contained enormous amounts of manganese, cobalt, and nickel. All three metals are essential for electric vehicle batteries, renewable energy systems, and modern technology. Researchers estimated that the Clarion-Clipperton Zone alone could contain trillions of dollars worth of minerals. Suddenly, corporations and governments began preparing for deep-sea mining operations. But beneath this excitement was a terrifying reality. Thousands of unknown species lived around these nodules, and many existed nowhere else on Earth. Scientists feared humanity was about to destroy an ecosystem before even understanding how it worked. The danger was not theoretical. During the 1980s, researchers conducted experimental mining tests in the same region. Giant machines disturbed the seafloor and removed sections of nodules just to study the environmental impact. The results were catastrophic. Entire ecosystems collapsed almost immediately. Scientists later discovered that 70 to 80% of life in the damaged areas disappeared. Even decades later, those ecosystems still had not fully recovered. Deep-sea creatures grow extremely slowly because food and energy are limited below. Yet companies were still preparing to mine millions of tons of nodules from the ocean floor. Then scientists made an even more shocking discovery. These same rocks might actually be producing oxygen in complete darkness. Andrew Sweetman partnered with marine chemist Dr. Franz Geiger to investigate the mystery further. Together, they brought polymetallic nodules into a controlled laboratory environment. The rocks were placed inside cold saltwater tanks designed to imitate deep ocean conditions. Scientists sterilized the nodules to remove bacteria and microorganisms that could potentially create oxygen. Yet even after sterilization, oxygen levels inside the tanks continued increasing. Then they tested the rocks for electrical activity and discovered something unbelievable. The nodules were generating electricity naturally. Manganese inside the rocks behaved like material found in batteries, while iron compounds created voltage differences across the surface. Seawater acted as an electrolyte, allowing electrical reactions to occur. The team proposed that this electricity might split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen through electrolysis. Measurements showed the nodules produced nearly 0.95 volts. Clusters of multiple nodules together could potentially exceed 1.23 volts, enough to trigger electrolysis. Suddenly, scientists considered a mind-blowing possibility. Billions of natural underwater batteries might exist across the seafloor, silently creating oxygen without sunlight. Not everyone accepted the discovery immediately. Some researchers argued that the laboratory experiments failed to recreate the crushing pressure found 5,000 meters below the ocean surface. Others pointed out that hydrogen gas measurements were incomplete, even though electrolysis should produce hydrogen alongside oxygen. Critics also claimed the exact mechanism behind the electrical reactions remained uncertain. Mining companies quickly challenged the research because their financial interests were directly connected to deep-sea extraction projects. However, many scientists defended the discovery and emphasized that major breakthroughs always face intense scrutiny. Governments also started paying attention. Several countries supported temporary pauses or complete bans on deep-sea mining until scientists could better understand the risks involved. This discovery could completely transform humanity's understanding of life itself. Scientists traditionally search for alien life on planets located inside perfect Goldilocks zones, where sunlight and liquid water can exist together. But dark oxygen suggests ecosystems may survive without sunlight at all. Frozen worlds like Europa and Enceladus could contain deep underground oceans powered by chemistry instead of sunlight. Earth itself may still hide secrets greater than anything humanity has discovered in space. Deep beneath the ocean exists a world more alien than science fiction. Toxic lakes, preserved bodies, oxygen born in darkness, and fragile ecosystems remain hidden below. Yet humanity still barely understands its own planet, while already preparing to exploit it. Would you explore these underwater lakes? And could dark oxygen change the search for alien life forever? Because sometimes, the greatest mysteries are not above humanity in space, but hidden below in darkness.